What's up, everybody? It's Rahul here from Custom Creatives, and I got a very special guest today. His name is Josh Rhodes. He's the CEO and founder of AgentLeads.co and Agent Spotlight. He's helped thousands of real estate agents improve their brand, their reach, their follow-up, automating their lead generation. And today we're going to be focusing in on how you guys can leverage video to dominate your farm area. So with that being said, hey, Josh, thank you for spending some time here.
Awesome being here, man. Appreciate it.
Cool. Can you give us a little bit of a background on how you got started in real estate and how long you've been doing this?
Yeah, been doing it, gosh, in internet dog years, several decades, but in reality, about 6 or 7 years. I was in online marketing, and I am a real estate investor. Bought and sold many homes, and one day I just kind of peeked my head up as an entrepreneur. I looked around. I was like, man, it seems like real estate agents are getting their license, and then they're basically taught how, like in the licensing process, they basically learn how not to get sued in a real estate transaction. But then they get slapped on the back and say, hey, good luck, go get leads and sales. And every realtor, real estate agent, North America, everyone that I would come in contact with, they did not have a plethora of leads. They did not have a brand that they were proud of that was popular, and they didn't know when their next closing came from. And so I started digging into the stats, and we all know kind of some of the incriminating stats about the industry, but basically the industry turns over every 3 years because of income failure. And so me and some friends just started cracking the code on social media advertising for real estate agents and follow up, and kind of putting together the building blocks of really a predictable closing system that allows an individual real estate agent to take control of their income. And so that's what we do today, and we love it.
Do you remember your first client that you brought on?
I absolutely do. Yes.
Cool. Nice. Was that right? Were you running a social media campaign for them?
Yes. And it was very much a pilot agreement. It was ugly. It was clunky. It created activity for their pipeline, but it wasn't anywhere what our end product and deliverable is today. Looking back on it, a lot of it was due to early inexperience and just kind of being a crash test dummy in a crash test dummy period. And then the other part of it was like technology. I mean, even technology today versus 5 years ago is so different. And the components that we had in our marketing funnel for local real estate producers is completely different. I mean, like things like Zapier and integrations, and do we use a landing page? Do we not use a landing page? What kind of landing page? What's the image? What's the video? What's the headline? What's the offer? All that stuff was very primitive. And our first clients were good sports. We'll just leave it at that.
Very cool. All right, let's dive into the topic at hand here on how to leverage your brand for an income by integrating video. So when you're teaching and training realtors, like how do you get them started on video?
Well, there's two ways basically. Number one is a very high touch experience. I'm here in Birmingham, Alabama. Downtown Birmingham has had this massive revitalization. We've got some really cool buildings downtown. And in one of those really cool buildings, we have a rooftop club that we rent out for a day. And some of our top clients come in and do a professional video shoot and branding summit. And then some folks we never get to meet face to face, and maybe they're just in our content marketing audience or our value add audience. And but the message to both of those clients is the same, which is there are three psychological factors that you as a real estate agent have to increase in the mind of your potential client. And those are the know, like, and trust factors. More people have to know you, more people have to like you, and more people have to trust you. And the way to cheat space and time on those three psychologies is with this beautiful thing called video. The only thing that beats it in terms of potency and effectiveness is being in person. But they're not Dr. Manhattan, and they can't be in more places, multiple places at one time. And so video allows you to cheat space in that regards and time, because it can extend your brand while you're sleeping, while you are at a conference, while you're doing a listing presentation, et cetera. So logically, I think everybody usually clicks at that point. They go, oh, of course, duh, I know video. Now, the statistics are the rational validation of what I'm telling them and what I'm teaching our clients. And there's one queen statistic that I'll just throw out there. I know a lot of people throw out studies and stuff all the time, but Cisco did a multi-billion-dollar study, and one little splinter output of that study in the real estate space was that I think the number is 87% of home buyers and home sellers, homeowners, want a real estate consultant, real estate agent that uses video marketing specifically. But only 14% of agents are leveraging video marketing on a consistent level. And so you can see there's a massive gap in the utility of video. And I can go geek squad on why there's such a gap. If you want to, we can chase that if you want to. But those are kind of the foundational things that I try to get into their brains.
I mean, that just poses so much opportunity when you hear a statistic of that magnitude, that you can literally be almost a nobody and take over market share when there's that big of a gap, considering the marketplace is saying, I want this. The actual supplier in that marketplace is saying, I won't do that. Right?
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have anything that would be like non too geeky, but valuable along those lines, feel free to.
Well, the reason why they don't do video typically is because, and if you're a real estate agent listening to this, I'm not trying to stereotype you as much as I am trying to be descriptive so that you can, or we can prescribe a solution for you. But descriptively, the real estate agent audience struggles with a few things, and this is what creates the gap between using video and actually having it, or the demand for it. Number one, they don't know what to say once they are on video. They don't have a framework. And a lot of times, and this goes back to my opening comments, which is they're not taught to be marketers and salespeople. They're taught to be risk mitigators inside of transactions. And so instead, they simply fall back into a either lethargic, non-active, bivocational real estate role, or they do things that are not sustainable and they burn out, like cold calling and door knocking and all that stuff that we love to pick on. So not knowing what to say on video is one of the big main detractors from their adoption. So if it's helpful, I can give a framework right here and right now for the listeners that they can use. And you'll never have to worry about what to say in front of video again once I tell you this. And it's so simple.
I love it. Do it.
So this is kind of like the secret decoder ring to video marketing, in my opinion.
But guys, whoever's watching this, make sure you listen to this section right here. This can change your business. This is like, he's about to drop some serious fire.
Yeah, this isn't theory. This is just storytelling framework that works in any industry. So if you're listening to this and you own a small business of any kind, this helps you. There are 3 types of stories that you can always tell, and that's what video is for, right? We're trying to tell a story so that more people know, like, and trust us. There's 3 types of stories. Number 1 is the origin story. Why did I become a real estate agent? Why do I practice real estate? What was I doing first? What is it about real estate that I love? And these stories, this 3-story framework that I'm giving, some of the framework is more scalable than others. The origin story, there's only so many ways and so many times you can tell your origin story, right? It's not as scalable of a story, but it's very impactful because people love to know that you're a real human. You live in their real community. You're a local real estate expert, and you happen to also have kids who play soccer in the same fields their kids play on, stuff like that. So framework number one is the origin story. The second one is the product story. And I say product in that as real estate agents or real estate pros, your product is the service and the experience that you give, obviously, your prospects and your clients. And so what that could be is an industry informational video. For example, the top 5 things first-time home buyers need to know about. How to pick a good mortgage broker. Some people use it as an opportunity to do weekly or monthly industry update reports. We have one of our tools that we give our clients. We have over 200 product story topics on a content marketing calendar that they can just kind of pull up and look at on their phone, and they can shoot a video on their iPhone immediately and have another product story that they can distribute. Super scalable. So you can do those every day of the week and never run out of content, basically create a massive bank of content moat around your business. And the third story framework is the client story. And these are traditionally known as testimonials or success stories. These are the most impactful because someone else, an alien voice, is advocating on your behalf about you, for you, to the public. And while those aren't as scalable as the product story, they're more scalable than their origin story, and they're as impactful as any of the other 2 frameworks. So when you use those 3 story frameworks, it creates a cocktail for video success that you don't do if you're just flying by the hip, if that makes sense.
No, I love it. I love the way that you broke everything down. So it's like, to repeat, it's the origin story, the product and service stories, and then the client stories, which is case studies, client testimonials, etc. Then, like, touching on number 3, the client stories, because those are extremely impactful. They show the emotion, the value add, etc.
Yeah.
Do you ever recommend people like being in the video with their client during the client story, like an interview style?
Absolutely. And sometimes it's easier to get someone to commit to a testimonial video if you do that, because you got to remember they're camera shy too. They don't know what to say too. The real pro tip though is tell them to shoot an iPhone video of themselves outside, sunny day, natural light, and just say, hey, Susan, really love being your realtor, really love being your agent. Hey, can you shoot a 30 to 60 second phone video? Hold your phone horizontally, and here's what I want you to do. Before I was in your life as your agent, what was life like trying to buy or sell a home? And then what was it like after? And just get them to do a before and give your testimonial client a framework too. And that when you give them a specific framework for that, 30 to 60 seconds before and after, they are way more likely to adopt what you're saying and actually send you a testimonial video. And they are so powerful.
Yeah, no, I love that. I do the same thing with our clients. Is whenever I want a testimonial, I give them a little bit of a framework so they know where to start, because they're lost. They don't do this. They're not comfortable. So you're absolutely right. To get things done, you have to give them the guideline, because we take for granted that we may know things.
That's right.
The next person, they don't actually know that.
Yeah, you have to talk to the inner 4th grader.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So let's go into, you mentioned iPhone. I mean, essentially I was going to ask about equipment, but you pretty much named really all you kind of need to get started is just a phone like this, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Is there any other equipment that you tell people to use, like any kind of mic or lighting, just to keep it super simple so they get a little bit of a better quality, whether it's audio or visual aesthetic?
Absolutely. I actually have right here on my desk this great little thing. It's a gimbal, whatever you call them, and it's a Yoozon, Yoozon, Yoozon. Mm-hmm. It's got a Bluetooth remote control. It can be a selfie stick. You can, kind of pull it out. It's multifunctional, and you can set it up as a tripod. It's like $20 on Amazon. You can find a million of them. And then I get just a really, not inexpensive. There's $50 to $75 lapel mic. And that's when I'm doing the product story type videos. For testimonials and stuff, unless you're sitting in a living room or a staged arena, I usually just get them to do it from their phone, just, especially if they have a newer iPhone or an Android. The audio is really, really good enough. The origin stories are great for, if you ever want to hire a videographer or something like that, you want to make sure you include your origin stories, because those are the type videos you host on your website. Maybe they're your premiere or marquee video on your social media channels, etc., YouTube channels, that kind of thing. But when it comes to the blocking and tackling of just day-to-day self promotion, man, you just can't beat the quick little Amazon gimbals and selfie sticks and holding the phone up with your hand and just doing a quick video with it. The real thing is the environment. Being in an environment that's conducive to the brand and the image that you want to portray in your local market.
No, I love it. Thanks for that tip. Now, we covered the types of videos, the 3 video framework. What do you tell people to overcome any kind of fears or self-doubt that they may experience to do video?
Yeah, mindset is often not overcome by statistical rationale. And it's also one of those things that we can't do a whole lot of surgery on, because mindset goes all the way back to, family of origin type stuff. So, but to help with just, if we're only talking about video marketing, there's kind of one of those bungee jump psychologies. Like, you just got to go. Hey bro, you just need to jump. You just need to do this. And we have countless clients, that are doing incredible work with video, just because they're not only following out some of our recipes, but they're expanding on what we teach them. And what ends up happening is they create this continuity of brand. And when that happens, they secure future income. And so the main mindset approach is, hey, if you'll do this, and if you'll be patient, and if you'll stay in the batter's box, if you'll just keep swinging, this is the one way that you're going to really secure future income, which is what everyone wants. It's the holy grail. Because the worst thing is, like, if you want to be a 6-figure real estate agent, you finally reach 6 figures, and then you look around, you feel that buzz, but then you have to look at the next 12 months and go, can I do it again? Was this an anomaly? Was this a one-off? The only way you can do it again is if you predictably or systematically keep doing what got you there. And video marketing is just the way to earn that know, like, and trust that is the equity that you trade on to get that 6-figure or multiple 6-figure income. So to battle mindset, I'll go, hey, are you in this to win it? Like, do you want to be a 6-figure agent? If you do, you need to pick that camera up and you need to get rolling. Let's stop, playing pixie sticks.
Exactly. No, I say the same thing. I'm like, you got to get uncomfortable. That's the number one thing you got to get comfortable with is, like, I mean, and the key part is, if you're doing video, you're by yourself. These are practice reps. Nobody else is going to see it except your delete box.
Totally.
Yeah, if you're not good, you're not going to be good all of a sudden. Just like Michael Jordan didn't shoot his first basket and became the greatest.
That's right.
Or one of the greatest. It's like, it takes a little bit of practice. And the way I like to explain things is like as if you're talking to your mom or somebody at a dinner party and they say, what do? You feel really confident in explaining that. Now just pretend this is like that friend that asked you, what do you do? And it's only you two. There's nobody else. There's no pressure. There's no stage. And then once you feel good with a cut, then guess what? You just got a little bit better. And as Billie Jean would say, you suck less.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, you suck less every single time. Now, what do you think the cost is for people of not doing video?
Oh, I mean, just look at the stats of, if you're a real estate agent and you want to do business with homeowners and people who are buying houses, and 88% of them say that they want an agent that uses video marketing, then that is, I would say, an almost all-inclusive piece of the industry that you're saying no to. You're basically saying no to the reason why you got into real estate to begin with.
Mhm.
So whatever that is. Now, the problem with real estate is that each individual producer has subjective goals. So one agent might just want to pay off debt, and that's what they're doing to help their husband or their wife in their job. Another agent might be in it to become the next Bravo TV star. And bottom line is, if you want to say yes to your goals, whatever they are, if you're listening, then if you're saying no to video, it's a really good chance statistically you're saying no to your specific goals. And here's the other problem, Raul. Like, most agents listening to this do not have tangible goals set out, and that's another huge problem. Is that it's kind of like ready fire with no aim. They never have an aim. There's not, like, they can't articulately say, oh, well, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm working so hard at the real estate industry. I mean, you need a date and a dollar at minimum as your goal. What am I going to earn by what date on the calendar? And if you're not doing video, you're probably saying no to that date and dollar.
I agree 100%. Because the easy answer when I asked real estate agents, what did you do in the last 12 months? And let's say 3 transactions. So I would say, like, probably fairly new, maybe 1 to 2 to 3 years or so, or they're not taking it as serious. But then the next question I would ask is, what's your goal for the next 12 months? And then the pause, the hesitation, like 9. So it's like an arbitrary number. So you want a 3x your business and you don't want to do anything different. So this is that one thing that you could do different, which is going to lead into the next topic I want to talk about, is dominating your farm area. One of the things I tell people to do is saying, like, master every street, every HOA, every little nook and cranny of the neighborhood that you actually specialize in. Don't try to go 20, 30 miles deep and say, oh, I can do that. So it's like kind of just talk and educate people, saying, like, hey, this is a little pocket of Birmingham, Alabama. This is known as XYZ town, and this is great, and kind of describe the housing market, the schools, the principals, the restaurants. What do you say? Like, do you think that helps agents kind of become that resourceful person for that farm area to dominate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would say another way to say what you just said is to dominate, don't dabble. Dominate a 5-mile radius. If there's enough people, if there's a population density enough, 5 miles gets you more clientele than you could ever wish and hope for, then just dominate the 5-mile radius. And then if that's not enough, go to 7.5 miles. And if that's not enough, squeak it up to 9 miles. But don't try to boil the ocean. Don't try to be everything to everyone. And then, of course, that even splinters off into niche marketing. You know, like, are you going to sell lake homes to your luxury lake community? Are you going to sell single family bungalows to the hipsters in the new part of town? Like, whatever it is, make sure you dominate, don't dabble.
No, I love that, because then you become the niche specialist, kind of like the neurosurgeon of your market, if you will.
That's right.
Cool. One thing that I like to talk about too is, like, perceived value for people when they're actually looking to sell, once they've already seen all your videos, because a lot of people are reactive. Like, once I get the listing, then I'll do something, or it's almost after the fact they're doing things. I look at it as like, well, if I was selling my home, I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to go on YouTube. I'm going to go on Instagram. I'm going to see the mailers. I want to know that they're going to market the property to drive the price up, not say, hey, well, I've been doing this for 15 years or so. I get the value of experience and network and whatnot. But it also helps when you have a real estate agent that kind of knows the modern way to market. So what do you think about, like, that perceived value before a person's met you?
Yeah, I mean, think about walking into a listing presentation and you've been executing proper video marketing that I use the illustration a lot, like, there's a lot of rivers, like the Nile River, for example, seasonally floods its banks, right? And some river systems seasonally open the locks in the dams to increase water flow. Well, what's it like when an agent floods the riverbanks? with video marketing. Floods in the riverbanks being social media, the attention, where everyone's basically standing mentally. What happens when everyone's standing in your video brand equity? And then you walk in and you're the number 4, number 5 listing appointment that a homeowner has. And they go, oh, I have seen you on Facebook. I've seen you on Instagram. I've seen you on YouTube. I've seen your video XYZ. That immediately gives you the competitive edge. And you're starting to practice in the marketing community what they call omnipresence, with actually not a whole lot of effort once you start and create your own personal branding system.
Yeah, and think of video as like a living, breathing asset. Like once you've done it, it's a one-to-many kind of scenario. So whether somebody plays it once or 1 million times, the exposure is up to you. You don't pay more for it unless you're advertising and boosting it. But the point being is it's an asset for you. It can work for you 24/7.
That's right.
So the last 2 bits that I want to talk about are going to be like the art of the follow-up and dealing with online leads. So, and actually let me back up a second. What's your opinion on people who advertise on Zillow as compared to, let's say, social media, YouTube and whatnot?
I think if you're advertising on Zillow, that you're not crazy and you're potentially doing the right thing for your business. At the same time, you need to be more diversified than Zillow, and you need to know how to work Zillow leads. So if you have not mastered that art, it's going to be very easy to victimize or play the victim and blame Zillow or blame anybody else. The problem with Zillow and maybe its other competitors in terms of the big box lead generation companies for real estate agents. Here's the big problem. It's not their problem though, it's the agent's problem. And that is this, and it's so ironic because we in the real estate industry are constantly talking to clients about renting versus buying, right? Leasing versus buying your own home. When in reality, what real estate agents are doing is, for the most part, they're leasing their marketing from Zillow or Realtor.com or Trulia or whoever, and they are not building and owning their own marketing ecosystem. So, for example, if you're doing Zillow and you have been doing Zillow and it's working, fantastic. I'm not telling you to quit, but you basically plugged in your electrical cord to the Zillow electromagnetic machine, and it's creating all this energy for your business. Perfect. But when you unplug that cord, what do you have to show for it? What equity have you built in the marketplace beyond that Zillow placement on the Zillow platform, as opposed to in the hearts and minds of the people who will remember you when you walk into the grocery store or go on the soccer field or whatever that is? And so you're renting from Zillow, but are you building your own marketing equity that's independent of Zillow? Does that make sense?
100%.
And so you need to be self-sufficient and utilize the Zillows of the world as afterburner, as the turbo boost to your business, not as the sole sustenance of your business. You are your most important asset. Your time is your most important asset. Your person, until real estate agents just aren't humans anymore and they're just androids, like, you are the most important thing in your business. So you have to be more visible. And Zillow is one platform. And most of the time when your image or brand is shown on Zillow, that's very transactional and it's not omnipresent. Whereas people are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google every day, multiple times. And it's an opportunity for you to get more attention, more inventory to be a part of. And so I would just say to anyone doing Zillow, that's great, make it work, but don't rely on it.
I love it. Great answer. No, the question I asked right before I went back to Zillow was the art of the follow-up with these online leads.
Yeah. So this is where you separate yourselves from your competition. And where most real estate, this is the transfer of knowledge that most agents don't have the experience to make on their own. And so this is why they need a little bit of coaching or advice from a podcast like this. So if I'm a real estate agent, let's just pretend I'm brand new. I walk into the industry with a license, but I don't walk in with a really good handle of sales and marketing. But I do walk in with a sphere of influence. It may be small, it may be big. It's just really up to the social equity that I already have in friends and family. Well, I sell a few homes to friends and family, or I help a couple friends and family buy a home. But I did not have to exercise the follow-up muscle whatsoever. So now I'm a little punch drunk on a few big commission checks without really having to put any exercise time or conditioning in when it comes to follow-up. Then I invest in a Zillow, for example, and I start getting some quasi search intent leads coming in. But then, you've got the whole like shared lead cycle. You show up and there's two other agents showing up at the exact same time for the same clients. And like, there's all those horror stories. And then maybe a friend told a coworker about you, and now you got a referral, which is a lay down lead. And so now they didn't call anyone else because they trusted your friend or your aunt. And so you're still not doing follow up. And then you finally invest in some other cold lead generation, trying to scale the little success that you've had. And now you're a nobody talking to a bunch of somebodies, and those somebodies don't respond on the first touch. And that's the difference maker between top producers and people who just churn out every 3 years. The difference is, on a very practical level, most agents give them a couple of calls and they give up on the lead. But HubSpot, a very, very prominent, large CRM, they talk about how 87%, I think it's almost 90% of the value or the lead's value is unlocked after 8 touches, and the National Sales Executive Association says 80% of all sales comes between the 8th and the 12th touch. And so multiple types of touches matter, and the cadence and the frequency matters as well. Most agents, if they're being honest, make a couple calls and hang up and don't come back. And they have this list, this database of just inanimate people. They need a database or reactivation campaign, for lack of better words, to even make some money there. But really, if they have a good follow-up system in place, what I teach is don't do anything except text cold leads until they respond. You can still have email automations and all that stuff in place if you have access to that kind of sequencing and technology and all that. But at minimum, utilize SMS, because that's where you can find plenty of statistics on text messaging, not just text message marketing, but just human communication, interpersonal communication. That all supports what we teach our clients, which is, dude, text them until they respond, start a conversation. Don't try to get married on the first date. Just start conversations. Nudge, 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 nudge. See if you can get an appointment.
I love that, by the way. That was brilliant. Now, what about voicemail drops? Do you ever utilize that in the marketing sequences as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good touch. I think it demonstrates a level of technical savviness for the agent. It doesn't have a lot of conversion value in our experience, but it does have a lot of brand and kind of mental stamping, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. It's the omni-channel follow-up, if you will.
That's right.
Use omni-channel presence. So that was pretty awesome. So if you guys can comment what your best takeaway was from this interview, drop it in the comments wherever you're watching this, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or whatnot. And if you want to get a hold of Josh, how do they reach you?
Yeah, I have a really fun case study for you. It's one of our top clients. Her name is Miley. She's a mom of 4. She was brand new at real estate. She had never had a real estate bone in her body or anyone in her family. And she has doubled her income every year since she got her license, and since she's partnered with us at Agent Spotlight Academy. You can go get her case study and an entire walkthrough of my entire system. If you go to agentleads.co/case study, all one word, agentleads.co/case study. You'll get access to our mastermind case study that highlights Miley and the system that she uses every day in her business. And she'll close, I think, 70 plus deals this year. So if that piques your interest, then you should totally go get it.
Yeah, go get that, guys. All right, Josh. Well, thank you so much. And if he didn't convince you to do video, you should. 88% of people want video and only 14% are doing it. 2020 is the year to execute and overcome your fears. Josh, thank you so much for the time today.
My pleasure.
All right, cheers.